one of the hardest, the reason why I started this episode with it's important to have some type of consistency, some type of criteria that is concrete, is because the NBA finds himself in a situation where you have three candidates and each one has a case to win. And what I mean by that is you have Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Luka Doncic. If you look back in history, each one of these players can go back and say, well, X won, Y won, so I should win. And that is why it is so difficult when the criteria for this award continues to change. You see, all three of these players, obviously Luka, Shai, and Jokic, are incredible players. And all of them have a case to win the MVP. But at the end of this segment, I'm going to give who I feel should be the MVP. But before that, let's look at each one in their case. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA. The way that he dominates the game, the way that he can affect it on the offense, the way that he can affect it a little bit on the defense, his passing ability, his scoring ability. I don't think we've ever seen a big man like Nikola Jokic. That's kind of the saying that we hear regularly when we talk about Nikola Jokic. There has never been another Nikola Jokic. And the fact that he has the Nuggets, I think as we speak, as the number 1 or number 2 seed is incredible. Even though, yes, they did win the championship last year and they still have their championship core, Nikola Jokic has continued to be the best player in the world. Obviously, you can argue for Giannis being the best player or Joel Embiid when healthy, but a person's name that always is in those conversations is Nikola Jokic. And this year is no different. Wow, no, his MVP numbers from 2 years ago are higher than this year. He is averaging 26.6 points a game, 12.4 rebounds, and 9 assists. Again, those are not numbers that you see from a center. And if you look back, some of those LeBron James awards, I think the Kevin Durant award, some of those LeBron James awards can justify why Nikola Jokic would win this award. When LeBron James was winning, he has 4 MVPs, and every single one of those MVPs, he was the best player in the world. And the NBA rewarded him by giving him the MVP. Now, he might not have had the most statistical or he might not have had the best statistical year. He might not have led the league in scoring. He might not have done all that, but he was the best player. And obviously, if you're the best player, at times you're looked at as the MVP. So that's why LeBron James won that award. Well, Nikola Jokic is clearly the best player in the league this year. And I understand why he's leading the vote getting. So if Nikola Jokic wins, I get it. I understand. But I also would understand why people would say, well, Nikola Jokic, the 2 years he won the MVP, he had better numbers than he has now. And while, yes, he is the best player in the NBA, if we're going to go off numbers, and we're going to go off, field goal percentage, everything, Nikola Jokic has had better years. So if you're going to give it to Nikola Jokic, why give it to him where this is his worst year and there's people that have stats better? You see, again, that's why criteria is important, because these arguments can be had, these arguments can be made, these arguments can be brought to the table. Now let's get to Luka Doncic. While Luka right now leads the league in scoring. He's averaging 33.9 points a game. He's also second in the league in assists, 9.8 points, and he's averaging 9.2 rebounds a game. Luka finds himself in that same vein and same or conversation that James Harden was in, that let's say Russell Westbrook was in when they won their MVP. While no, it's very hard for me to look at the Dallas Mavericks and think to myself, they're a legitimate title contender. And I think right now they're like 5th or 6th in the West. So if you look at Nikola Jokic, he has his team higher in the standings than Luka, as well as Shai Gilgeous. But when we talk about numbers, Luka is probably one of the best statistical players in the league. Well, no, he's not the best defender. He will never be the best defender. He has never been the best defender. He is arguably the best scorer in basketball. And if you're in Nikola Jokic's, if you're in Luka Doncic's camp, you can say, well, you gave it to James Harden when he was on the Rockets. You gave it to Russell Westbrook when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder. You gave it to Kevin Durant when he was on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And while they probably weren't the best players in the league, well, they definitely weren't the best players in the league, they had the best statistical years. So that is why you should give it to Luka. Again, it's all about having a uniform criteria. Because quiet as it's kept, whatever side that you pick, you're not wrong. There's a lot of people that think that Luka should be the MVP, and I'm not saying they're wrong. Just like there's a lot of people that say that Nikola Jokic should be the MVP. I'm not saying they're wrong. What I'm saying is the reason why there's so much confusion, the reason why there's so much talk around this is because the NBA has put themselves in a situation that they now, the saying, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Now, somebody is going to not win this, and it's going to be an ultimate snub. Now, let's get to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai kind of finds himself in a situation that Derrick Rose was in. Shai kind of finds himself in a situation that I think 2015 Steph Curry was in. No, Shai isn't the best player in the world. Now, in 2016, 17, when Steph won the MVP, you can say he definitely was the best player in the world, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not the best player in the world. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't top of any numbers. He's averaging 30.4 points a game, which is third in the NBA. He's averaging 5.6 assists, which is 60th in the NBA. And he's averaging, 5.6 rebounds. And he's averaging 6.2 assists, which is 20th in the NBA. So Shai Gilgeous isn't leading the league in anything. However, like Derrick Rose, who was the youngest MVP of all time, like 2015 Steph Curry, when you look at the team around them, when you look at that Bulls team, when you look at that Golden State team, the expectation wasn't to be as good as they were. Yes, I understand that the Oklahoma City Thunder have a lot of young pieces, and everyone knows that they have a lot of young pieces, but nobody expected the Oklahoma City Thunder to currently be third in the West. Now, mind you, the West is by far the hardest conference in the NBA. We'll talk about that a little bit when we'll talk about the play-in, but the West is leaps and bounds, at least this year, better than the East. And you have some fierce competition, whether we talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves, whether we talk about the Denver Nuggets, who are the reigning champions, whether we talk about the Phoenix Suns, whether we talk about the Golden State Warriors, the LA Lakers, the Oklahoma City. Like, it is tough in the West. And going into this season, when you saw a bunch of people including myself, because I did this as well. And I said this. When people did their preseason power rankings or, preseason playoff predictions, the hardest team to rank was the Oklahoma City Thunder because you see the talent there. When Chet Holmgren, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, you see the talent, but you also understand the youth, and you also understand that they're a young team. Well, the fact that they are, I think, third in the West right now is solely because of the leadership and the play of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What he's doing is he's taking a team that, while young and while very talented, has no business being as good as they are in a loaded Western Conference. Because of his play, because of his leadership, because of being the MVP of that team, he has elevated them to the third seed in the West. And because of that, a lot of people question, well, without Shai Gilgeous, there's no way. They would be good, but there's no way that they'd be this good. And on top of that, Shai Gilgeous is putting up numbers that you don't see someone his age. You don't see someone that has to carry the load like he carries is able to do. Bro, Shai Gilgeous is 25 years old. Again, man, when the NBA is probably the worst at this. I credit obviously basketball is my first love, my favorite sport. But what I will say is the NBA sucks at this. It doesn't suck at handing out MVPs and handing out awards. It sucks at not only explaining how someone got an award, but handing out these awards because it's so inconsistent. The fact that, and no offense to him, obviously he deserved it because he won, but the fact that a Steve Nash can win 2 in a row the same year where he doesn't lead the league in scoring, lead the league in assists, you know what I'm saying? Or how you can give it to a Joel Embiid when Nikola Jokic is having a better statistical year than he did when he won 2 straight. Again, I'm not saying that anyone that has won an MVP should not have won. I'm not saying that. I wouldn't say that. But what I am saying is the NBA has to do a better job at explaining how a player won this award, because there's a lot of players that I'm sure may get a vote, may get some type of consideration, but could have a case if you look back at previous winners, could have a case like a Jalen Brunson and what he's doing for the New York Knicks, especially seeing as though Julius Randle has missed most of the year due to injury, and now I think the Knicks are like a game or two away from being outside the 2 seed in the East. Or Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has the Celtics not only the best team record-wise in the league, but so far ahead of the 2nd seed in the East. Again, man, there has to be some type of understanding as to how people get awards that they get. Now, let me explain to you who I think should win the MVP. Now, again, I do think it is between those 3. It's between Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Luka Doncic. I think you have to reward who is what we're seeing compared to what we expected to see. That should obviously give away who I think should win the MVP. I think it should be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yes, I know that he's not averaging as many points as Luka Doncic. I understand that the Nuggets are higher in the standings than the Thunder, but that was expected. I expected Luka Doncic to be amongst the leaders in scoring. I expected Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets to be one of the top seeds in the NBA, seeing as though they just won a championship and their core stayed the same. So I expected all that. What I did not expect is the Oklahoma City Thunder to be this good. I expected them to be good, but not good enough that I would not be surprised, even with their youth, if they won a playoff series or two because of the leadership and because of being the MVP of his team, and that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Again, I'm not mad if Luka wins. I understand leading the league in scoring, putting up some incredible numbers, as many triple doubles as he had. Side note, the triple double rebrand has been crazy to me, because I remember when Russell Westbrook was averaging triple doubles for an entire season, and people were poo-pooing it, and people were just saying, "Oh well, it is what it is." Now it's like so glorified when Nikola Jokic gets one or Luka Doncic gets one. I think it's funny. And don't get me wrong, shouts out to them for getting it. Triple double is not easy, but it's just funny how when we look at someone like those players get it, it's incredible to the game. But when Russell Westbrook gets it, it's like, yeah, well, it's triple double. It is what it is. So, but yeah, I think that there's a lot of deserving players to win the MVP. But I would give it to Shai Gilgeous because of expectation. And nobody expected Shai Gilgeous and this Oklahoma City Thunder to be this good. While, yes, they probably expected them to be good, not this good. Not good enough that I could honestly, I'm not saying they will, but I could honestly see them in the NBA Finals. That's how good this team is, and it's led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. A player who I knew was good, but I didn't think was going to be this good. But with the NBA, man, they have to better this. They have to better this. This has to be better. They have to make it, show us the guideline that you use. Because it seems like, and it not even seems, because it's clear as day, this guideline changes every single season. Every single year. And you see it by the winners. Again, I'm not saying James Harden. I'm not saying Russell Westbrook. I'm not saying, some of these players, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. I'm not saying that they didn't deserve it. But what I'm saying is each one of them had a different case as to how they won and why they deserve to win. And every single year, you can also look and say, well, that player probably could have won. That player probably should have won. But because there isn't a level of uniformity, there isn't a guideline that they continue to go by. To me, I don't, it's confusing to me. But hey, congratulations to whoever will win. Obviously, we'll talk about it here. And I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should be the MVP of the league. So, oh man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.